Hey everybody, and welcome to another deep dive. Today we're gonna tackle something that's a little bit tricky, maybe even a little bit mysterious.
Mysterious, okay?
A little bit.
Yeah.
We're diving into subtle signs of attraction, specifically from women.
Okay.
I found this super interesting article and I was like, oh, we have to break this down.
Yeah.
Whether you're getting ready for date night or you're just trying to, figure out what a certain someone is thinking, or maybe you're just interested in human behavior in general, this is for you.
Yeah, it's funny because attraction can be a little bit of a puzzle sometimes.
Totally.
And what I find so interesting is that, a lot of it is really communicated through nonverbal cues.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Things that we do without even realizing it,
Oh, absolutely. Like, you would think that if someone is interested in you, that they would, be super chatty.
Right.
But this article suggests the opposite.
What?
So apparently, if a woman is quiet around you, especially if she's, like, outgoing with everyone else, that could be a sign that she's into you.
Okay, so like she's talking to everyone else, but when you come around, it's like
Yeah, exactly.
radio silence.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when you think about it, when someone's opinion really matters to you, it can kind of throw you off your game a little bit.
Oh, for sure.
That fear of messing up, of saying the wrong thing, can lead to just like overthinking and then silence.
Oh, yeah, like that fear of rejection.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's not that she's not interested. She's almost like intimidated.
Yeah, the article actually called it nervous attraction.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's not about like playing hard to get or anything. It's really more about that internal struggle, between wanting to make a good impression and also just feeling flustered
Right.
by the attraction.
So it's not the cold shoulder. It's more like a nervous stammer.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah.
Now, what about eye contact? I feel like that's always a big one.
Yeah, eye contact is huge, and it's not just about making eye contact.
It's about the way that she does it.
Okay.
Because, like, prolonged eye contact,
Intense.
yeah, can be super intense even if you are attracted to someone.
Right.
So what often happens is you get this, like, quick glance and then look away,
Oh, yeah.
maybe with a little shy smile or some fidgeting.
Okay. Yeah, that's so true. I remember this one time I had a huge crush on this guy, and I would totally do the quick glance and look away.
Yeah,
It felt like my heart was going to beat out of my chest.
I love that. Yeah, it's such a classic move.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a way of acknowledging the attraction without being too forward or overwhelming the other person.
Right.
And all of those little nervous behaviors you mentioned, like the fidgeting, the blushing,
Yeah.
those are all like bonus hints that she might be feeling flustered because of you.
Because of you specifically.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so it's not just about catching her eye. It's those little tells that give away the nervousness behind it.
Right.
Okay, let's move on to the next sign, because this article really dives into some juicy stuff. It talks about how a woman might act cold or distant when you mention other girls.
Oh yeah, this one's interesting.
Right.
It's a classic sign of jealousy, even if it's disguised as disinterest.
Ooh. Okay.
If you think about it from an evolutionary psychology perspective,
Yeah.
women throughout history have had to compete
Right.
for the attention and resources of desirable partners.
Okay, so it's like a primal instinct.
It really is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that instinct can manifest in some pretty subtle ways.
Like?
Like, changing the subject,
Yeah.
giving you really short answers, or even seeming annoyed when you bring up other women.
Wow. Okay.
And it's not that she wants to, like, ruin the conversation or anything.
Right.
It's more about protecting her ego
Oh.
and managing those feelings of insecurity.
Okay, so she's not trying to be a bad sport.
No, not at all.
It's more about those subconscious triggers
Yeah,
that make her want to assert herself.
exactly.
Fascinating.
And what's interesting is this behavior can often be totally misinterpreted.
How so?
A guy might think, oh, she's not interested.
Right.
She doesn't care who I talk about. But in reality, it could be the exact opposite.
Oh.
Her coolness might actually be a way of masking her true feelings.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is making me rethink so many past interactions. I can totally see how I might have misread those signals.
It's all about understanding the underlying psychology.
Right.
And once you start to see these patterns, it's like you've unlocked this secret code
Yeah.
to understanding human behavior.
A secret decoder ring.
Exactly.
I love it. Okay, so we've covered the shy silence, the nervous glances, and the jealousy disguised as coolness. What's next on our list of subtle signs?
Well, this one is a little more strategic.
Cope.
The article suggests that if a woman is attracted to you, she might start subtly bad-mouthing your exes.
Wait, really? Tell me more about this one.
Yeah, think about it in terms of mate competition.
Okay.
By pointing out your ex's flaws or questioning your past choices and partners, she's subtly positioning herself as a more desirable option.
So it's not just gossiping, it's about subtly elevating herself.
It is, yeah. It's a way of saying, I'm better for you than they were without explicitly stating it.
Wow.
You know, she might highlight their negative qualities or imply that you deserve better,
Yeah.
all while seemingly engaging in casual conversation.
Wow, it's like a subtle marketing campaign for herself.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's fascinating, isn't
Yeah.
it? How these seemingly harmless comments can actually be layered with this deeper meaning.
Okay, I am officially hooked on this whole decoding thing.
I love it.
So you've got shy silence, nervous glances, jealousy disguised as coolness, and strategic ex-bashing.
That's right.
What other subtle signs should we be on the lookout for?
Well, have you ever noticed how someone's voice can change when they're around someone they're attracted to?
Oh, totally. It's like they subconsciously shift into a different vocal register.
Exactly. The article mentions that women might unconsciously adopt a softer, higher-pitched tone, or even a more playful lilt when they're talking to someone they're interested in.
Yeah, it's almost like they're trying to be more alluring.
Precisely. It's a way of kind of enhancing their femininity and signaling their receptiveness.
Okay.
And again, it's not about being fake or putting on some kind of show.
Right.
It's about those subconscious shifts
Right.
that happen when we're attracted to someone.
So if her voice gets a little sweeter or breathier when she's talking to you, that could be a sign.
Yeah, that she's feeling the attraction.
Okay.
It's definitely something to pay attention to. And remember, it's all about the contrast.
Okay.
You know, compare how she talks to you versus how she interacts with other people.
Right.
If you notice a distinct shift in her tone, it could be a subconscious way of singling you out.
Okay, we're getting good at this. What's next on our list?
So remember how we talked about women being chatty with everyone except you as a potential sign of attraction?
Yeah, the whole nervous attraction thing, I mean, it still seems a little counterintuitive, but I'm starting to see the logic behind it.
Well, there's actually another layer to that dynamic.
Okay.
Sometimes a woman might actually use that chattiness as a way to get your attention.
Ooh, okay, I'm intrigued. Explain this one to me.
So think about it. If she's the life of the party, the center of attention, it might pique your curiosity.
Yeah.
You might wonder, why isn't she talking to me?
Right.
What's so interesting over there?
Interesting.
It's like a subtle way of making you work for her attention.
Okay, so it's not about ignoring you, it's about making you want to engage with her.
Exactly.
Right.
It's a way of creating a bit of intrigue,
Yeah.
a little mystery. And often that mystery can be very attractive.
This is making me realize how complex this whole dance of attraction really is.
It is.
It's not just about blatant flirting or grand gestures. It's about these subtle layered signals that we send and receive,
Right.
often without even realizing it.
And that's what makes it so fascinating.
Yeah.
It's like a puzzle we're constantly trying to solve,
Yeah.
even if we don't always have all the pieces.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here today, from the silent treatment to the strategic ex-bashing. We've really delved into the fascinating world of nonverbal cues and how they can reveal a woman's true feelings.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what's really interesting to me is how much of this applies beyond just romantic attraction.
I agree.
Like, we've been given a secret decoder ring for human behavior in general.
I love that analogy, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, these subtle signs of interest, of connection, even just a desire to make a good impression,
Yeah.
they show up in all sorts of relationships.
Oh, totally.
Friendships, professional settings, even family dynamics.
Absolutely. So it's not just about figuring out if someone has a crush on you.
Right.
It's about understanding the subtle ways that we communicate with each other on a deeper level.
Exactly. And once you start paying attention to these nonverbal cues, it's like you've gained a superpower. You know, you can pick up on these subtle hints,
Totally.
these unspoken messages that are constantly being exchanged.
Like, we've been given X-ray vision
Exactly.
for human interaction.
I love that.
Yeah. And the best part is, like you said, the more you practice this skill, the more attuned you become.
Absolutely.
Those subtle nuances.
It's like a muscle you can strengthen over time.
I love that analogy. This has been such an eye-opening conversation.
It has.
But before we wrap up, I want to ask you, for our listeners who are eager to put this knowledge into practice, what's the key takeaway? What should they be looking for?
You know, I think the most important thing is to really look for clusters of behavior.
Okay.
not just isolated incidents.
Right.
One shy glance doesn't necessarily mean she's head over heels for you.
Right.
But if you're noticing several of these signs consistently,
Yeah.
then it's a much stronger indication that there might be something more to the dynamic.
Right. It's about seeing the bigger picture, not getting hung up on one little detail.
Exactly. And remember, even with all of this newfound knowledge, the best way to know for sure how someone feels
Yeah.
is to simply ask.
So true communication is key, always. Well, this has been a fascinating deep dive.
It has.
Huge thanks to our expert for sharing their incredible insights.
It's been my pleasure.
And to our listeners, keep exploring, keep observing, and most importantly, keep those minds open. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.
See you next time. And we are back, digging even deeper into these subtle signs of attraction.
It's funny, as we're talking about all these signs, it's making me realize how much we communicate without even saying a word. It's like a whole secret language of attraction.
It really is, and one of the most powerful forms of nonverbal communication is laughter.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Have you ever noticed how a woman might laugh at your jokes, even the ones that aren't that funny?
Oh my gosh, yes. We all have those jokes that only our moms find funny.
Right.
But suddenly she's cracking up. Is there something more to that?
There's definitely more to it. The article explains that, laughter is just this powerful way to bond with someone.
Okay.
And when a woman is attracted to you, she's more likely to find you amusing,
Interesting.
even if your jokes are objectively terrible.
So it's not about having a killer sense of humor. It's more about her just being receptive to you.
Exactly.
Maybe even trying to make you feel good.
It's a way of saying, I enjoy your company. I find you charming.
Okay.
Without actually having to say those words.
So guys, if she's laughing at your jokes, even the ones that make your friends groan, take it as a compliment.
Definitely.
It could be a sign she's into you.
Now, speaking of subtle ways to signal attraction, let's talk about appearance.
Okay.
Have you ever noticed how a woman might seem to put in extra effort with her looks
Oh yeah.
when she knows she'll be seeing you?
Absolutely. Like suddenly she's rocking that perfect outfit, her hair's done just right, maybe even wearing a new perfume.
Yeah, it's not just about vanity.
Right.
It's about wanting to impress you, to catch your eye and make a positive impression.
Right.
It's a classic sign of attraction, dating back to probably the dawn of time.
I guess it makes sense.
Yeah,
If you're attracted to someone, you want to present your best self, right?
exactly. And it's not just about meeting societal beauty standards or anything. It's about, feeling confident and attractive in the eyes of the person you're interested in.
Totally. I've even heard of women wearing a guy's favorite color or using a scent that they know he likes.
Talk about subtle signals.
Those are great examples. It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
they're sending this secret message through their appearance. Speaking of sending messages, let's talk about physical touch.
Ooh, okay.
This one can be a little bit tricky to navigate, but it's definitely a powerful indicator of attraction.
Yeah, getting into the physical realm here,
Yeah.
I feel like this is where things can get easily misconstrued.
It's true. You have to be really careful and respectful of boundaries.
Yes.
But generally speaking, if a woman is comfortable with you and potentially interested in something more, she won't shy away from light touches.
Like if you brush her arm or shoulder accidentally, she might linger for a moment or even touch you back.
Yeah, it's like a little spark of connection.
Exactly. And those small touches can be incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
They can build intimacy, create a sense of closeness, and even trigger the release of hormones like oxytocin, which is associated with bonding and attraction.
Oh, wow. So it's not just about physical contact, it's about a deeper chemical reaction happening.
Precisely. And even if she's not initiating the touch herself, pay attention to how she responds to yours.
Okay.
Does she seem tense or pull away quickly? Or does she relax into it, maybe even reciprocate the gesture?
I'm starting to see how this whole decoding thing is really about reading those subtle cues, both physical and emotional. It's like learning a whole new language of attraction.
And like with any language, the more you practice, the better you'll become at understanding its nuances.
Right.
Now, this next sign might surprise you. The article suggests that if a woman is attracted to you, her friends might start taking an interest in you as well.
Wait, really? I thought friends were supposed to be like a protective shield keeping the potential suitors at bay.
That's the stereotype.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's quite the opposite.
Okay.
Think of it like a reconnaissance mission.
Oh, okay.
If she's interested in you, she's probably told her friends, and they're gathering intel. Maybe even trying to subtly nudge things along.
So they're like the wing women, but in a more undercover kind of way.
Exactly. They might start conversations with you, follow you on social media, or even coincidentally bump into you when she's around.
Oh, wow.
It's all part of their mission to assess you and see if you're a good fit for their friend.
This is making me rethink all those times I've been cornered by a group of chatty friends. Maybe they weren't just being friendly. Maybe they were on a mission.
It's certainly a possibility.
Yeah.
And it's a good reminder that attraction isn't always a solo act.
Right.
You know, friends often play a big role in the process, whether we realize it or not.
Okay, so we've got the laughing at your jokes, the extra effort with appearance, the subtle touches, and now the friends joining the game. What other secret signals should we be aware of?
Well, remember how we talked about women being chatty with everyone except you as a potential sign of attraction?
Yeah, the whole nervous attraction thing, I mean, it still seems a little counterintuitive, but I'm starting to see the logic behind it.
Well, there's actually another layer to that dynamic.
Okay.
Sometimes a woman might actually use that chattiness as a way to get your attention.
Oh, okay. I'm intrigued. Explain this one to me.
So think about it. If she's the life of the party, the center of attention, it might pique your curiosity.
Yeah.
You might wonder, why isn't she talking to me?
Right.
What's so interesting over there?
Interesting.
It's like a subtle way of making you work for her attention.
So it's not about ignoring you, it's about making you want to engage with her.
Exactly. It's a way of creating a bit of intrigue, a little mystery.
Uh-huh.
And often that mystery can be very attractive.
Yeah. This is making me realize how complex this whole dance of attraction really is.
It is.
It's not just about blatant flirting or grand gestures. It's about these subtle layered signals that we send and receive often without even realizing it.
And that's what makes it so fascinating.
Right.
It's like a puzzle we're constantly trying to solve,
Yeah.
even if we don't always have all the pieces.
Okay, so we're wrapping up our deep dive here on the subtle signs of attraction. I don't know about you, but I feel like I've learned a whole new language.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much we can communicate without even saying a word.
Right, it's like a secret code. And the
Mhm.
best part is once you crack the code, you start seeing these signs everywhere.
Exactly. It's not just about romantic attraction either.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's like we've been given a decoder ring for human behavior in general.
Totally. These subtle signs of interest, connection, even just wanting to make a good impression, they pop up in all kinds of relationships.
Right. Like friendships work even with family.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's about understanding the unspoken language that we all use to connect with each other.
So it's not just about figuring out if someone has a crush on you, it's about becoming a better communicator overall.
I love that. That's such a great way to put it.
And honestly, who wouldn't want that, right?
Exactly.
Now, before we wrap up, I want to ask you one last question for our listeners who are ready to put all this knowledge into practice. What's the biggest takeaway? What should they be looking for?
I think the most important thing is to remember that it's about patterns, not just isolated incidents.
Right. One laugh doesn't necessarily mean she's in love.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But if you start to see several of these signs together consistently, then it might be worth paying a little closer attention.
So it's about seeing the bigger picture, not getting hung up on one little detail.
Precisely.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, even with all this newfound knowledge, the best way to know for sure how someone feels is to just ask.
So true, communication is key always. Well, this has been another incredible deep dive. A huge thanks to our expert for sharing these awesome insights.
My pleasure.
Okay.
It's been fun.
And to our amazing listeners, thanks for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.